for Mr. Kwan. Well, first, I'd like to address a proposal from the Democrats to create this government-run consumer credit agency under the CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, an organization which has many challenges of its own, including its very existence. I have a long list of concerns with a government-run consumer credit agency. If this proposal were enacted, the federal government would be responsible for keeping records of billions of consumer transactions. That's an enormous responsibility. So, Mr. Kwan, you outlined concerns with putting so much sensitive personal information in the hands of one government entity in your testimony. Can you talk about the risk of cyber attacks associated with having one sole public credit reporting agency?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. You're absolutely right. So TransUnion has about 3.1 billion trade lines in their database. And so the other two agencies probably have similar number of trade lines. So this new government agency will house all these trade lines, trillions of bits of information, and they're inviting cyber attacks. And there's no, if consumers are not convinced that the private sector is doing a good job in protecting their data, there's no reason for us to believe the government is going to do a better job in protecting their data.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Kwan. A centralized credit reporting agency would be a target for cyber attacks that could jeopardize sensitive information for our constituents. Additionally, hackers and criminals will use any technological advantage they can to steal sensitive information. There is no way that a government agency would be better equipped than the free market to use the latest technology and stay ahead of cyber incursions. Furthermore, putting consumer credit reporting solely in the hands of the federal government has far-reaching implications. Credit reports contain sensitive personal information, and credit scores have tangible power over our lives as consumers. I'm very concerned that creating a public consumer credit bureau would be an enormous concentration of power in the hands of the federal government. That kind of power could be mismanaged by a reactionary bureaucracy, whereas free market competition incentivizes looking forward, anticipating the needs for consumers in advance. So I agree with Ranking Member McHenry in his earlier comments, where he mentioned that competition and choice for all consumers offers the best path forward. We do not need another government takeover of an industry. That's reminiscent of a socialist-run country, not America. I know that's an agenda for many on the other side of the aisle to socialize this country. That does not work well. That's been shown. Rather, I would actually quote Ronald Reagan, who once said, "Government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem." And with that, I yield back.